Welcome to the Artwork of You, the podcast where your life is the canvas and you are the masterpiece. I'm your host, Lori Guin, and together we'll explore creativity, self-awareness, mindset, goal strategy, and the importance of accountability so that you can paint your life's portrait with confidence and ease. Remember, in the gallery of life, you're not just a spectator, you are the art. So let's grab our brushes and start creating the masterpiece that is you. Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you are here with me today because today I want to talk about something that I think most of us can relate to, and that is seeking approval from others and the need for love. I was recently reminded of the book, I Need Your Love, Is That True? By Byron Katie, and the way that it challenges the beliefs that we have about love, validation, and approval. So I thought I would revisit it because I needed the reminder myself, and I thought you might too. Because so often we spend our time and energy trying to get others to love or validate us and thinking that's what we need to feel good about ourselves. But what if that's actually not true? If you're not familiar with her, Byron Katie's work is all about challenging the beliefs that hold us back. And I think this idea of needing love or approval is one we should all take a closer look at. And what I mean is, what if we didn't need anyone else's approval to feel complete? What if the love we think we need is actually based on a story we've been telling ourselves for years? Asking these kind of questions can completely change how you show up in your relationships and in your life. So today, I'm going to walk you through some of the key insights from the book and talk about how we can start letting go of the belief that we need others' love or approval. And I'm not talking about becoming detached or unfeeling. It's more of an understanding of where our sense of self-worth really comes from. So let's talk about how questioning this need for love can lead to more freedom, confidence, and peace in our lives. I want to start by looking at how most of us have spent a good portion of our lives seeking approval from others, whether it's in our personal relationships, our work, or even in our creative projects. We often feel this pull to make sure others are happy with what we're doing. We believe that if someone likes us or if they validate our choices, then we'll feel secure and confident and worthy. But the reality is, seeking approval is exhausting, and it doesn't really give us the fulfillment that we're after. One of the biggest ideas that she explores in her book is this need for love and validation is a trap. We often don't even realize that we're caught in it. We get into relationships or business situations thinking, if this person approves of me, then I'm doing something right. If they love me, then I'm valuable. Katie asks us to pause and question that belief. Do we actually need other people's approval to feel good about ourselves? Or is it just a story we've been telling ourselves? When I think about this from a business perspective, it's easy to see how this need for validation can limit us. How many times have you hesitated to put your ideas out there or waited for someone else to tell you that you're on the right track? Maybe you've watered down your message or you've changed your vision because you're worried about how others might react. I know that I've been there before, but the truth is when we chase approval, we're giving away our power. We're letting other people define what's right for us instead of trusting our own instincts. For example, as a coach and a business owner myself, I have had moments where I have caught myself looking for validation from my clients or from my own coach, wondering if they approved of how I was coaching or if they thought I was successful enough. But when I step back and question that need, I realize it's not their opinion that defines the value I bring. My worth does not hinge on someone else's approval. It comes from the quality of work I do and the integrity I bring to it. Byron Katie's process is about getting clear on whether the stories we believe are actually true. She teaches you to ask the question, is it true that I need this person's approval to feel good about myself? Is it true that their love or their validation defines my success or my value? Most of the time, I would say all of the time, the answer is no. We actually don't need their approval. We've just convinced ourselves that we do. If you're someone who's been playing small in business or in life because you're worried about what others will think, this is where the trap of seeking approval really comes into play. Instead of standing behind your decisions and moving forward with your ideas, you might find yourself holding back, second guessing, or waiting for someone else to give you the green light. But when you let go of that need for external validation and you start betting on yourself, you start to show up more fully in your work and you become more authentic, more creative, and ultimately more effective. So the next time that you catch yourself holding back or looking for approval, stop and ask yourself, is it true? Do I really need this person's love or validation, or am I capable of moving forward without it? When you start to question these beliefs, you'll see just how much power that you've been giving away and how much freedom you can gain by letting them go. So now I want to share the method for questioning these beliefs. This process, which Byron Katie, she calls it the work. It's centered around 4 simple but really transformative questions. These questions allow you to examine your thoughts that keep you stuck, and then you can begin to break free from them. So we'll start with the first question. Is it true? Think about a belief you hold, and we'll use the same example. I need this person's love or approval to feel good about myself. Take a moment to ask yourself, is that really true? Is it an unquestionable fact that without their approval or love, you are not valuable? Most times, we don't even challenge thoughts like these. We just accept them. But when you pause and ask, you might realize there's room to question whether it's entirely true. And the second question takes it a step further, and that's, can you absolutely know that it's true? This is about going deeper. Sure, it might feel in the moment that it's true, but can you absolutely know for certain that you need their love or validation to be okay? When I've done this with my own beliefs, I often find that I can't say for sure. I realize that the need for someone else's approval is more a story about what I've been telling myself than it is about reality. And the third question is the key to understanding the impact of holding on to that belief. And that question is, how do you react? In other words, what happens when you believe that thought? Think about how you feel and act when you believe that you need someone else's love or approval. Maybe you become anxious or insecure. Maybe you start behaving differently, being less authentic, or holding back in certain areas of your life or your business. How does believing that thought shape your decisions, your relationships, or even how you run your business? This is where you really start to see the cost of these unchallenged beliefs. And the last question might be the most transformative, and that is, who would you be without that thought? Imagine, what would your life look like if you no longer believed you needed anyone else's approval? Who would you be without that thought weighing you down? Maybe you'd be more confident, more willing to take risks, or maybe more at peace in your relationships. Without the need for constant validation, you free yourself up to be more authentic and to focus on what truly matters to you. So let's take a quick example. Think about a relationship, a work-related or a personal one, it doesn't matter, where you've been feeling like someone's approval is essential for you to feel secure. Run that situation through these 4 questions. Is it true that I need their approval? Can I absolutely know that it's true? How do I react when I believe that thought? And who would I be without that thought? These questions can open up a whole new perspective, and they can be applied to any situation where you're feeling stuck and seeking validation. Again, whether it's in your personal life or in your business life, using this process can really help you release those limiting beliefs and take action from a place of clarity and strength. And now let's talk about one of the most powerful ideas in her book, and that's the concept of loving without expectations. This is something that really shifts how we approach our relationships. She challenges us to ask ourselves, what if I could love others without needing anything in return? It sounds simple, but when you think about it, most of us expect something from the people we love. We expect validation, appreciation, and we usually, if not always, expect love in return. What she is saying is that true love, whether it's love for a partner, a friend, or even a client or customer, doesn't require anything in return. It's unconditional. Because when you truly love someone, it's not about whether they give you approval or affection. It's simply about your ability to give love without needing to receive anything back. And again, I'm not saying we should ignore our needs or let people walk all over us. If we're constantly expecting others to give us something back in order to feel validated or secure, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. And I see this a lot in business relationships too. You might think, if I do a good job for this client, they should praise me or continue working with me. Or if I pour everything into this project, my team or my customers, they should recognize it. But that expectation can lead to resentment if things don't go the way that you want them to go. Because here's the thing, when we love or give without expecting anything in return, we free ourselves from disappointment. We're no longer tied to someone else's reaction or approval. In business, this can look like offering your best work, serving your clients with everything you have, and then letting go of the need for their praise or their continued business. You're still delivering excellent work, but you are not dependent on what they give back to feel good about it. I've learned to do this myself, especially when I do consultation calls with potential clients. My goal for the call is always to serve them and to give as much value on that call that I can, and then detach myself from the outcome of whether or not they choose to work with me moving forward. It's so important to remember that when you stop focusing on what you can get from others, they often respond with more appreciation and loyalty. It's like they can sense your motivation is coming from a genuine place and not a place of needing to get something in return. When you love someone or you give something from this place, it's not about them at all. It's about you. It's about living in alignment with who you are and what you offer, regardless of whether the other person gives back in the way that you would expect. This is such a liberating way to approach relationships, and it takes so much pressure off of your need for external validation. So think about this, and how could you apply it to your own life? What would change if you started loving or serving without expecting anything in return? How would it feel to let go of the need for appreciation, for praise, for validation? I can tell you, it's freeing, and it allows you to focus on what really matters, and that's showing up fully and giving your best no matter what. The shift can also make you more resilient, because when you are not dependent on constant approval from others, you are less likely to be derailed by criticism or rejection. You know that you're offering your best, and that's enough. It also helps you to stay authentic because you are not bending to what you think others want to see from you. You're just showing up as yourself. So the next time you find yourself needing something from someone in return for your love or your work, pause and ask yourself, what would it look like to give without expecting anything back? This simple shift in your perspective will transform not just your relationships, but the way you move through the world. When you stop seeking love and approval from others, the way you view yourself naturally begins to change. It goes beyond just feeling better about yourself. It transforms your entire approach to life. When you recognize that your worth is not tied to external validation, you start making decisions based on what's true for you, not on what others expect. And this is where real confidence begins, because you no longer are waiting for permission or affirmation from outside sources. You trust yourself. This mindset is invaluable. When you detach from the need for approval, you allow yourself to move forward more decisively. And I see this with clients all the time. They are so stuck and overwhelmed with indecision. When you are able to pursue your ideas without hesitation because you're not concerned with how others will react or whether or not they'll agree with you, a whole new world opens up to you. You start to create and lead in a way that is authentically yours, and then real growth happens, both personally and professionally. I would say the biggest impact, though, is on your relationship with yourself. When you let go of needing love or approval from others, you begin to truly value yourself. You start to trust your own decisions and rely on your own internal sense of worth. And this affects how you show up in all areas of life, from setting boundaries in relationships to taking bold steps in your business. You just stop looking outside of yourself and you start focusing on what you want to create, what feels meaningful to you. So in essence, you free yourself to live the life you actually want, not the life you think will make others happy. It gives you the ability to stand by your choices, take those risks, and move forward without constantly second guessing. It'll allow you to lead with clarity and authenticity, both in your work and in your relationships, and really in leading your life. So if you're finding yourself caught in that cycle of seeking approval, take a moment to step back and ask, who would you be without that need? What choices would you make if you were not waiting for someone else to tell you that you're doing the right thing? This is how you begin to reclaim your power and redefine success on your terms. And so as we wrap it up, I want to remind you, the need for validation can hold you back in ways you might not even realize, from how you show up in your relationships to how you approach your business. When you start to let go of that need, you open up space for more confidence, creativity, and real connection with others, because you are no longer focused on what you can get from them, and instead you're showing up fully as yourself. And so here's my challenge to you. Pick one relationship or situation in your life where you've been seeking approval or love. It could be a work situation, a friendship, or even a relationship with a client or a customer. And take that situation and run it through Byron Katie's 4 questions. Start with, is that true? I need their approval or validation. Be honest with yourself and see what comes up, because the insights might surprise you. And as you work through this process, remember, the goal is not to become detached from others or to stop caring about your relationships. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of expectations and learning to trust your own value. Because when you do that, you'll find that you can show up more fully in every area of your life without needing anything in return. And most importantly, I want you to have the courage to bet on you, bet on yourself. I know I, for one, am definitely betting on me. And if you found this episode helpful, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might benefit from it. And as always, if you want to go deeper into these kind of conversations and find out more about working with me one-to-one in my personalized private coaching, reach out to me, because I'm here to help you question the beliefs that are holding you back so that you can step into your full potential. That's a wrap for today, my friends. Thank you for sharing your time with me. And remember to show up in your life like the masterpiece you are, because you are the artwork. Please subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Have a fabulous day.